All those years sitting next to Leon, we discussed if we ever did get the opportunity to tell the real cases of this agency, that we were going to take that opportunity to do that.
Hey, it's Diona Reasonover.
And I'm Brian Dietzen. Welcome to another episode of NCIS Partners and Probies. Today we have an amazing episode for you.
We have Mark Harmon and Leon Carroll. Now, you may have seen Leon's name on screen because he has worked for both NCIS and NCIS Origins.
So he worked in his capacity as a technical advisor, meaning he was an NCIS agent and prior to that an NIS agent. And he is the one that makes sure that we are holding the guns correctly, that procedurally, that we're doing everything right at crime scenes.
The reason that NCIS feels so good as a show is partially because of Leon Carroll.
And the reason why NCIS is because of Mark Harmon. So
Yes.
This is a pretty good pairing that we have here. They are also co-authors. They are now on their third book, which we're going to talk about today. They started with Ghosts of Honolulu, Ghosts of Panama, and now Ghosts of Sicily. So where do all these ghosts come from?
They come from the stories that we do not know about the U.S. Navy, about the, NIS. This is a true story of how the U.S. Navy partnered with the mob to find some counterintelligence about Nazis during World War II. It's incredible.
Yes. So they're delving into the Office of Navy Intelligence during World War II. Look, I'm not going to get into it now because we're going to get into it in the interview. But I mean, if you like the history of World War II, if you like the history of NCIS, I mean, we get into quite a few stories about NCIS and NCIS Origins. You're not going to want to miss this. It's Leon Carroll and Mark Harmon. Hey guys, welcome back to Partners and Probies. We are here with Leon Carroll and Mark Harmon, authors of Ghosts of Sicily. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for asking.
Okay, I have to...
Mark just looks at me and
This is the weirdest thing I've ever done in my life.
surreal.
Wait, tell me why.
Strange.
No, it's friendly sitting with you two and spend a lot of time with you on sets, and now we're sitting here across from me and you're peppering us with questions about a book we just wrote. So, hey, bring it on.
It is a little weird though, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because
of course it's weird. Writing a book is weird.
Yeah.
And working with Leon hasn't been weird because you did that every day on the show.
Yeah.
And there was always a story to tell. And then there was a real story, and then there was a TV story, and they normally didn't parallel up. So a chance to do that.
Actually, this is actually a cool question. What kind of prompted you guys to first start writing together?
Well, basically, it was because we weren't doing real stuff on the TV show.
Wait, go on about that. What are you talking about?
The first few seasons on the show, we did have episodes that were based on real cases, and I remember those pretty much vividly. And I would say getting into season 5 or 6, we started to go off the reality tracks a bit. And Mark would ask me, sitting there, he'd go, "Leon, would you guys do this?" And more that answer became no.
Yeah.
And so what he said to me was, "Hey, if we ever get a chance to tell real stories about real NCIS cases, would you do that?" And I says, "Yeah." And I had forgotten all about that. And about the time he was leaving the show, he calls me and he says, "Hey, Leon, remember what we've been talking about for 20 years or whatever?" And I says, "What do you mean, Mark? We sat next to each other every day, and went to lunch together every day. We talked about a lot of things." He goes, No. I mean, doing stories about real NCIS agents. I go, "If that's what we're going to do, sign me up." And that's how this writing relationship began.
You know, and Leon, you were always so helpful with stuff like that. I remember I came to you because I had a screenplay that I was working on that was a historical screenplay about a spy. And even though it was, set back in the 1800s, you hooked me up with a real life spy to talk to. And it was really cool. And I really always appreciated that.
Well, that's great that it worked out for you.
How many spies do you know? Is that like a
How many 1800 spies do you know? That's the deal. He's been at the agency a while.
Mark, he knows people. He really knows people, man. But
I pride myself on helping people out. I mean, just recently, Mike Smith, who replaced me up on the mothership, he's going to come into our writer's room, and we've just exchanged ideas all the time. Because I want people coming behind me to succeed as well.
Yeah.
But how many do I know? I can't tell you.
You literally can't tell us, right?
Because that was my job in the real world, was to go against spies. And I did that for most of my NCIS career. I think I did crim work for only like two years, really. And then I moved over to what we call foreign counterintelligence at that time. And, you know, it was like a chess game when you're going against an adversary. And sometimes you know who they are, like in the Doug Water case, and sometimes you don't. And so that was very interesting for me for a career. So,
well, that really parlays well into the topic of this book, which, I mean, at the beginning of this, we're talking, you guys are talking mostly about stopping German spies coming in off the Atlantic seaboard, coming in on German U-boats, and partnering up I should say the Navy partnering up with the mafia, Lucky Luciano. How did this story come into to your guys' heads? I mean, who kind of did the research on this and said, this is something we need to delve into?
Well, Mark is the World War II buff.
Yeah.
So we had a list of stories that we could tell, and that was how I was brought in to come up with a list of initially like 6 or 7 stories. And I went to the NCIS Association's history site, and I looked at stories I thought would be interesting or cases. And this was one that was on that list, and we did Honolulu, which was on the list as well. In fact, the only one that's not on the list is the Panama story.
Panama?
Oh, really?
But that's kind of how it works. He and I talk about that, and you know, from there we get the ideas, and our publisher is great about, you know, giving us the support we need from a research standpoint.
I'm okay, and I should just tell you guys, I don't know, I'm allergic to something on this set, so every now and then this one eye waters, and you just see me like dab it, but I'm okay. Your words are moving, but I don't want you to think that I'm just like, oh my God.
I thought
Never had that thought. You know?
Well, I thought I was bringing you to tears.
Yeah.
You know.
Don't listen to her. She's never done this before. You're making her cry.
Thanks.
It's very meaningful what you just said.
Guy. I love it. Thank
That's
you.
great.
But it's a fascinating book, and it's very cinematic. I mean, you can tell that the two of you obviously have worked together in film and television for quite some time. Have there been discussions between the two of you of parlaying this into any sort of film or television project?
We've been asked that a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, well, it does read somewhat like, I mean, especially this one, like a script, because it is in narrative form.
Are you pitching for like a part here? I'm just
Look, Mark, I need the work. I need the work.
This is Lucky right here.
worked with you a long time.
Mark,
Go right
Lucky
to it.
right here.
Yeah.
You know what? No, he looks more like Sox Lanza.
Yeah.
You know, socks.
Thank
I'm
you.
laughing. Is it wild? Can I show the picture that's in here of socks?
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll get it in here. We'll get it in here at some point.
So if you're listening and it's not on video format, check out our YouTube page because it'll have it right here.
Yeah, this is actually pretty great.
But more importantly, buy the book.
That's Lucky Luciano there.
No, that's socks. That's
That's
socks.
Sox at the bottom.
That's socks at the
Yeah,
bottom.
couldn't
I
see
remember
him.
that
That's
one.
me.
That does look like you. Mark, what is it about World War II that kind of interests you?
You know, there obviously this agency branched off of ONI, and as it became more current, the rules change, and so it's not that I'm specifically a World War II buff. It's just that I find that all of these stories have kind of been driven by the fish. You know, the fishing fleets. That's where it started, and we were losing all kinds of shipping right off the coast of New York. I mean, there was a tremendous amount of damage being done by German U-boats, and that was the start of this. Who controls the water, and the water is the fish, and the fish turned to the mob, and it was a give and take. It was they got something, we got something. That's still going on.
Yeah.
There's many stories to tell, and the more current stories to me, it's a different kind of definition in telling them because the rules change that game. And I never, you know, when Leon and I first started talking about this, and this was early on in the show where I had been told in the very beginning that these were all going to be based on real cases. Every week was going to be a real case.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then the second week, you're doing television, right? So guess what? You're not doing real cases. So that changed very quickly.
Yeah.
The pilot had some of that, and then it changed very quickly. And all those years sitting next to Leon, waiting for setups and stuff like that, we discussed if we ever did get the opportunity to tell the real cases of this agency, that we were going to take that opportunity to do that. And then it came to me about writing a book, but what they meant is writing a book about the show, writing a book about you guys, all of us as actors on this show. And I said, look, if you're interested in doing what the original pitch was on this, and we can talk about the real agency. And this is an agency that doesn't care if you know about them.
Yeah.
The work they do is quiet, and so therefore the dig in that and the people you talk to and the historical part of that becomes a valid reason to talk about those individuals that did this job. And the other part of that too is they don't care to talk about it.
Right.
So it's
They
hard.
don't need to.
It's hard to do that, and the dig of that is what has been the main pull for me in all of this, and working with him.
Yeah, I can understand where you guys. I mean, watching you guys work together on set was always great. And I was telling Leon when I first came on to NCIS, I had no idea how to hold a gun. I was holding it totally wrong. Absolutely no trigger discipline. And the help that you gave me and the help that you both gave me was so important. Before I read this book, I honestly kind of had in my head the thing that we've always been told, which is that there's never been a world war on American soil. So I didn't realize how close we kind of were, how close those U-boats were getting and how much damage they were causing.
Yeah, in fact, not only on the East Coast, but also here on the West Coast. You guys have filmed down at Fort MacArthur and San Pedro quite often, and you've seen those gun turrets that are still there. Yeah. And that was because there were subs that were off the coast of California.
Yeah, man, I thought those were for display, like a...
well, it is a museum now, but no, that was the real thing. Actually, those were put in just before World War II.
Oh, really?
So, yes, yeah.
So when you two started working on this, on our show together back in the day, Mark, was it like right away that you knew that this is a guy that you could start telling stories with, or was that something developed over time? I mean, what attracted you,
Brian, and
you
both
two
of you? You're an actor and you're trying to dig into a role, and you approach that differently than I do, and we all do it differently.
Sure.
Again, you almost got to turn the clock back 20 years to when I was first approached to be part of this. I was interested in trying to build a character. Really simple.
Yeah.
And part of that was hard to do because the people you met, they weren't talking about it. And then what I learned early on is if you do talk about what you've learned from them and you mention them by name, that doesn't help what they do.
Yeah.
Right? So I learned quickly that keep your mouth shut whatever you're basing your character on, or the pieces you're taking from that.
Yeah.
And again, part of that, people think this show jumped right out and was a hit right off, and it wasn't. Not for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And you remember that, Brian. You were part of that, and McCallum and Weatherly, and then eventually Sasha, and then Cody, and that was all. It was all such a a time when this show was really struggling. I mean, different network, different ratings, just barely hanging on, but just barely to get that next order of 6 or whatever it was. And that it's grown into what it has become is what, as an actor, you don't ever even think about. Someone says you're going to do a TV series, what are you thinking? Maybe don't get nuts here, but maybe a couple years?
Yeah.
So that it's been around for 20 and doing as well as it's done and has birthed all these other spinoffs and things, and a friendship that goes back just as long as that. It was time to just use that and share.
Leon, I always remember when we would be asked questions, and the question Mark would always get was, are you guys going to go as long as Gunsmoke? Are you going to go as long as X, Y, or Z? And he said, we're looking to do another season, if we can. Yeah, and because
half a season.
Because the truth was, it's not up to us. It's whether or not people are watching this thing, and we can continue to tell compelling stories. And you were behind a lot of that, and making sure that our feet are planted in the right place, and that we're doing it correctly, and paying homage to the people that are serving our country.
Thanks for recognizing that. I'll tell you, the first episode before it aired, I was sitting next to Mark Shields, the UPN. And I knew nothing about television when my first day was like an eye-opener. But I said, Mark, how long do you think this show is going to last? And he says, Leon, we'll know after next Tuesday night. And that was when the first episode was going to air. And like Mark said, I think we were in like the 20s at that time. And so, but it was Yankee White was a great episode. And, but it just took time. We were like the little engine that could, so it's all behind us now. But those first few years were pretty enlightening for me, especially because I thought they filmed an episode in one day, to be honest with you. My first day on set, I was like, well, when they've rehearsed this enough now, when are they going to actually film this thing?
Right.
Those were some long days.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, I will never forget my first day on the show. I was there for 12 hours and I didn't shoot a scene. Yeah. They eventually came in and said, I will be getting to you tomorrow. And I was like, okay, you got to pay me for another day, I guess, because I was only there for one day. But
I remember you came in at really a tough time. The scripts weren't done and things like that. But
I remember those early moments with you, Brian, really well.
Yeah.
And I think I was pushing you a little too hard, but and you were playing it your way and doing it your way, which is the way it should be. But man, there was so much to learn, quickly. And some of that was about the shooting schedule that was unending. I mean, you were doing forced turnarounds and sometimes, 3 hours, 5 hours. I mean, spending a lot of time at that studio.
It was a lot. Yeah. And during all of this, I was asking him about, what he saw in you as a storyteller and all that early on. When you first started working with Mark, and it has led to a 23-year friendship at this point. Yeah. What did you see in him as Gibbs and also just as the actor, as the man, that you're like, hey, I want to work with this guy beyond this show?
I've told this story a couple of times this week. And first day on set, we were in the Air Force One set.
Yeah,
out
what a
there,
cool set.
But big old Butler building. It was so hot that day because we were in August. We started that year in August. That was the first year. And Mark's sitting next to me, and this is before anything was shot. And he's picking my brain about my background, what sports you like. Well, baseball was my first love, so was his. And we got into this is going to be funny for you. We got into what team we supported, and you and I both being kind of like Chicagoans. Yeah. And I said, Mark, I'm from the South Side. That's not even a question you should need to ask. Like Pope Leo, I'm a White Sox fan, but I didn't say Pope Leo because I didn't. But I did say I'm a White Sox fan. And he said, you know what? I think I have something you might like. And that was like hour one of the first day, which for him was 21 hours. And the next day we come back in and he brings me a brick from the old Comiskey Park. And I'm like, how in the heck could this guy remember that? Because that was a brutal day for him and Sasha Alexander. Wow. And I was like, he remembered that. So at that point I said, this guy has some leadership qualities that, I had never seen before. Yeah. And going on, and I'll say this not to sound like I'm, sucking up to Mark, but I've seen a lot of leaders through football, through scouting, through being in the Marine Corps, where they really teach you leadership. It's almost like he did all those things. I know he was a quarterback, and everybody looks up to the quarterback until they start failing. But his leadership was just impeccable. I mean, just the idea that for lunch he would be at the back of the line. And it would embarrass some of the people who were working background, and they felt uncomfortable because he's standing behind them, but he would never jump the line. And he always ate lunch with us. So those are the kinds of things you say, hey, this guy is really a leader.
I'll tell you a little story. You know the reason they push actors up front to the front of the line?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Do you?
Tell
Okay.
the
These
actors.
guys definitely know it, but
Yeah, these guys don't.
Yeah.
but they can start the clock as soon as the last actor goes through. Right, so everybody behind you has less time to eat lunch.
Yeah.
So I make sure that everybody's got the same amount of time to eat lunch. So that's all I was doing. I wasn't trying to say you got to eat before me, but it's a very, I learned that from Carl Malden. And those are lessons that I've remembered and they've made sense to me. It's not like I'm trying to prove anything, but let's be fair, right?
Yeah. I always thought you were a great number one. I mean, I'm still pretty early on in my career, so I haven't had a lot of shows that I've been on. But by the time I came around, you guys weren't doing those like 16-hour we'll get to you tomorrow days. Like it was really a well-oiled machine.
16 was a good day, Diona.
Yeah.
Bye. Good night.
Goodbye.
No, but I mean, yeah. What do
Yeah.
you think what do you think kind of turned the corner? How did that change?
The show turned the corner. I mean,
Yeah.
and people just got on the same page. There wasn't anything fair about it when it first started. And there wasn't anything that I thought I was individually trying to do other than to protect the crew.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do that, then you had to do the same things they were doing. That seemed fair to me. And there are always people who don't care about that. There still are. So, it's an interesting business. There's doing the show, which is every X amount of days and hours you produce an episode, whatever that takes. In the early days of that show, that was a machine. I didn't even know how. We didn't even have scripts, Diona. You didn't have a full script to read when you started the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
There were times when you were on set in the beginning when you were getting the pages then. You've never seen them. So aside from the fact that you're an actor with someone like Brian who had, 3 pages of medical dialogue to not only commit to memory, but also figure out how to walk around a set and be in the right place to do what he did. That's how McCallum did it. When McCallum, and we all learned from David.
Yeah.
But David would also walk over and say, "This is where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Truly.
This is what I'm going to do."
Yes.
So people like DPs and stuff had no say in where they were going to put the camera.
Yeah.
You learn.
Yeah, McCallum, I remember some days he would come and he always came when I was there with his cards.
Listen, Michael's cards came from self-preservation. I mean, he'd never seen that dialogue before, and he was the guy who talked all the time, and so those dialogue loads, and then he would extend those to whatever Michael does when he was working, and that became part of the character. And then, but that didn't really start working until Cody came, because you can't offend Cody.
Right.
You can't, in that day, in that age, we were all different. We were all different than who we became later, but the mix of that, in my mind, that didn't start being okay until the Pablo arrived.
Yeah, because she hit back, man.
She did.
She did.
She still does.
Yeah, she was on her toes. I remember in those early years, you said we started without a full script. Do you remember a couple different times where we start with 2 acts? And for listeners, our show consists of 4 different acts, and we would start filming, and we only had 2, so about half the script. And then the guest star wouldn't know that they were the killer until like day 3 or 4. They're like, well, shit, I would have changed how I did that first part if I had known. And it really got in the way of our storytelling. It was tough.
A lot of things to balance, Not easy to do.
I felt sorry for the guest actors. It was brutal. The guest actors.
Yeah. How do you balance the technical? Okay, so actually this is a question. I imagine that all your training kind of helped you stay nimble in the moment if you're just kind of finding out this information on set, yeah?
Yeah, in fact, I never did any location scouting, because I said, as an agent, we had to go wherever it was, and that was the first time we're seeing it. So you guys go out and do that, and we'll adjust how we do things technically when I see it, right? And so that's kind of how I approached it. Even though you can script and set up different things and that, and I would talk to the directors, and we'd work out things that didn't work out from a technical aspect, and there'd be a compromise on that. But I never wanted to stage anything, I guess is what I'm saying.
Do you remember that scene we did in the van? I think it was in The Good Fighter. And the director was having me do one thing, and I just hear from behind the camera, no. It's just like, we're just literally fixing it in the moment. It was fun.
That occurred quite a bit. One of the things that when Belisario was running the show, his mandate to everyone was, we will do it the way Leon says we should do it, as long as it didn't impair entertainment value.
Okay.
And so that was something that everybody heard, the directors, all the people behind the scenes and all of that. So I was getting a lot of questions ahead of time about how things should be done, from props, from sound, from everybody, camera. Billy Webb would often come to me and say, now, how would you guys really do this? And I would tell him, and he'd try to adjust to make it work. So that, I thought, was part of the success of the show after a while, because the realies bought into it, right?
Yeah.
And they loved this show, and it really changed, the course of the agency for sure. So that's how I operated as a technical advisor.
Well, it takes a lot of work and a lot of time to make sure it's, because you can cut corners, right? And it can move faster. You can maybe do a little cheaper, but I mean, the time and effort and energy you put into it, it's going to take more, but it's going to be very appreciated by people who really do this for a living.
Yeah. Well, we learned how to cut some corners out. Yeah. I'm not going to give away those secrets, but every TA knows, it's only a 43-minute show, and you got to get it all in. And so there are ways that editing can help out in that as well. But you're right. It's just something that we have to pay attention to as tech advisors, because I would get those calls or those, hey, why did you have him do this? Or why didn't you do that? One story real quick.
Yeah.
Sasha Alexander, first year, we're doing something that really doesn't happen, and we're driving in the car, and she's in the back of the car. He's driving, and Donoso's riding shotgun. And she says to me, she goes, well, what do I do when I get out of the car? They're going to go into a tactical position.
Yeah.
And I says, well, you try to, use the door, even though bullets will go through the door, but at least it hides you, gives you a little bit of cover. And she says, but what if they want to see my face? And I go, oh, I go,
I hadn't thought of that.
Well, let's see. I think you're going to have to come up from behind the door a little bit so the camera can capture you. And that's what happened.
Man, I got to tell you, if I had to get out into a tactical situation, I'd be using every door, every car, trying to stand behind the engine, everything.
Well, that's why our lab people don't, I was going to say, use another term, but our lab people
What are you going to say?
don't do that. Lab rats.
That's right.
What we call
Yeah,
them.
that's what we are.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
That's right.
Called the lab coat crew.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Since we're talking process, I'd love to talk to you guys about your writing process too. Like, I have written screenplays, but I've never written a book. And I imagine that, by this third book, kind of like NCIS, you guys have probably become a little bit of a well-oiled machine. What is your writing process like?
Got a lot of researchers, a lot of help. Mm-hmm. And that's important to do the dig. These are stories that happened a long time ago. So that part of it has been fun. And this is what he does, mm-hmm. which is he comes from it. This agency comes from it. That's been the fun part for me. Mm-hmm. Learning about stuff that you had no idea they did what they did, and the people that you're actually talking about don't care if you know. Mm-hmm. They like being quiet, which I always think of in reference to this show, because the dig I was trying to do as an actor to try to learn, what can I infuel this character with? What can I use? What can I steal? All those things you think about as an actor. It's exactly opposite what they do.
Yeah.
So in some ways it was the conflict of that, to not really know and have to make it up yourself to a degree.
Yeah.
So you're working under the guidance of, if I screw up, will you tell me?
Right.
Right? Which is a little different than doing it right in the first place.
Yeah. And what was the decision to kind of, because in this one, I felt like I really got a good sense. I was telling Leon earlier that I felt like I got a good sense of every person that I met. Like we got a little bit of everybody's history, and it helped me see these people so much more clearly. What was kind of the decision to not necessarily follow just one person, but to get a little bit of everybody's story?
Like a TV show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like wearing gloves.
Yeah.
Got to wear gloves.
Tell me.
You got to wear gloves, Diona. You forget about that. Remember, Brian and I talked about this forever because we were there in the beginning. But, that was the hardest thing for me was everything's evidence, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So in reference to a book, the dig is everything is evidence.
You're right.
And that there are pieces of it that people haven't talked about before. There's an honesty in that too. We're not trying to dig out or disrupt anybody's lives in the story we're telling. And there have been choices we've made to say, let's step around that a little bit or find a different way to bring that forward. He's a great partner, and you would expect that too from who he is as a man and what his background is, certainly. And certainly who his wife is. I'm telling you that. All right?
That's right, Jackie.
That's right, Jackie. Hey.
Jackie.
Yeah, she's not too happy right now that you guys killed off Leon and Jackie before that. So
I know
We
it.
haven't talked. We should actually talk about that. The
We
fact
are- we're
that
not-
I'm sorry I brought it up.
no,
please.
we haven't talked about the fact that that's your namesake, Leon Vance.
Yeah.
Leon Carroll.
Leon Vance. Leon was, born out of Leon Carroll being on our show. And of course, his wife, Jackie,
Who was killed off earlier.
who was killed
Yeah.
off years ago.
And I didn't let her know that was going to happen. And
Did she
watched,
find out that night?
And Chris Whale will never get. Chris was the writer on that one.
Oh yeah.
And every time she sees him, he hears about killing off Jackie.
He's not on the Christmas card list. It sounds like.
Yeah.
It's
Actually,
a
he does send
TV
it,
show.
Yeah, no. Getting to your question on the research thing, as an investigator, that's what we do. And as boring as it may be, we spend a lot of time writing reports after we research, talk to people.
Yeah.
The process in writing a book is a little bit different, but we kind of stole from TV a little bit. And what you're talking about is we kind of start now with like a cold open or what was called a teaser back in the day. And then we tell the story. That way, I think the reader can kind of pick up on who's going to be what, especially later in the book. And I think that's worked out. That has worked well. When we started the first one, we didn't do that. And when I was reviewing, I'm like, boy, this doesn't get going until page 100. We got to do something different. So we went back and recreated the Pearl Harbor, the day of Pearl Harbor, showed that and what Doug Water was doing. Then we went into Doug Water's childhood.
Yeah.
I mean, in this book, you can see the research because there's notations for just about everything at the bottom, which is fantastic because it's coupled with actual dialogue that you guys came up with, and which I'm obviously, you don't have tape recordings of all of these conversations, but what is it like doing some sort of fictionalized aspect of these conversations, actually writing dialogue? Did you guys enjoy that aspect of it?
I think I do, but Mark probably has a different take on that. But yeah, I think it's great. A lot of the stuff that you saw in the footnotes, and we decided to do it like on the page that we're talking about, rather than some books do it at the end.
At
Yeah,
the
with a big
Right.
appendix.
So you know right away. And a lot of the stuff was from open source, like the Brooklyn newspaper.
Yeah.
We got some of that stuff. So, but yeah, the research was intense, and our editors are really good too. And it takes a year and a half to get through all of this, and it's tough, I tell you.
But like actors dig, it's about character.
Yeah.
It's about the discovery of these characters and bringing them forward. It's what actors do. You steal from everybody, and you find pieces that you like and pieces you don't like, and some work for the character and some work against the character. And it's the same thing in involving yourself in a book and bringing those characters forward that maybe people don't know about or haven't thought about before.
Well, it was great that you guys chose to have the footnotes right there as opposed to an appendix, because that way I could stay right in the story. You know what I mean? And it also helped me trust you guys as authors really early on, because you can see the research right there.
Well, that's a mistake, but okay.
You had her. Hook, line, and sinker.
You had me. You had me. The way you guys give these characters backstories, it kind of almost feels a little film noir-ish for me. Was there, but in a way I'm sorry, I'm a big Raymond Chandler fan. I love like The Big Sleep, Maltese Falcon. It's some of my favorite movies.
Well, it's sure, directionally kind of what we come from, certainly what I come from. You know? And they do. And we're from the beginning here with these books, we've been asked about, you gonna make a movie of it. It reads like a movie, you know, and it's, well, I've been reading a lot of scripts, you know, and in my life, and Leon certainly has read a lot, and maybe that's predictable, you know.
I think though that's especially from people in the world of entertainment, I think that's a pretty big compliment, because it means that this thing is moving through, and also there's these story points that feel very cinematic. Mm-hmm. When you couple that with the fact that you have dialogue that is very distinct for each of these characters, and there's a lot of characters in this book, and they have distinct voices. Yeah, that's what I think to me lends itself to saying, oh, this is kind of a I don't know, like a World War II epic, you know, in the vein of like the Pacific or a Band of Brothers or something like that, where it would be like a multi-part thing, because there's so much to get through story-wise, and I just think it's a great compliment to you guys as writers.
Thanks.
Yeah, Leon, you winced a little bit when I said film noir. Are you like, no, I only like French cinema? Or is that
we had an episode, Bête Noire, right?
Bête Noire, the first season, yeah.
And I don't remember much about it though.
That's the one where my predecessor was shot.
Gerald,
and taken hostage in autopsy.
Can I tell a little story about Brian Dietzen?
Please do.
Yeah.
So that happened, and Pancho Deming was the actor that played that, and Pancho, I actually kept in touch with him a bit, but I just remember one day Brian coming to work. Do you know Brian did not have a parking spot on the lot?
Oh, that's wild.
I parked in the street.
And he had to park on the street with, you know, everybody else that's way behind the camera.
But we worked that out, didn't we, Brian?
I didn't work out shit.
and this goes to the leadership of one Mark Harmon. I'm standing there talking to Mark, who has a spot pretty close to the front gate. And he goes, Brian, what are you doing walking in the gate? And Brian goes, oh, you know, I had to park out there. He goes, what? You don't have a parking spot on the lot? And Brian says, don't say anything to anybody. Just leave it alone, right? And Mark says, no, that's going to end today. The next day, Brian had a spot on the lot.
Nice.
It was there's a DNA about NCIS, and I'd like to think that in those early days, primarily through leadership of Mark and other folks, obviously producers, writers, and of course Mark Horowitz, Mark Schills, there's a DNA about work ethic and trying to do what's right on the show and trying to do what's correct procedurally, certainly. But something that I hope that we carry on the show to this day is just kind of looking out for one another and trying to make sure we're there doing the work. Like Mark always talks about, you just do the work. You just try and get what's right for the character and do the work. And when people ask me about, you know, what's the secret of the success of NCIS, I say it's the characters and it's people showing up and doing it. And that's what you were preaching the whole time, and that's what you helped us with every single day. And I love that story. I
pleasure doing it.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember when I was being hired by Mr. Belisario, I kind of asked him, you know, what's your approach? And he says, Leon, he goes, characters. I write good characters. I get the audience hooked into the characters. And that's been my success in this business. And on our show, that's certainly the case. I mean,
I got one. How about not being late?
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah.
People don't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you understand who you're inconveniencing with this? They're sure getting paid a lot less than you are. They sure care about this much more than you do. And that's from working with professionals who know what's important. You know, and some don't, you know, and they either learn or it doesn't work. So
Well, when you start to think that you are more important than the endeavor that you're a part of, then you start to put your own priorities above whatever that project is, be it a TV show, a job, whatever it might be. And that's a slippery slope, man. Like,
you know any guys like that, Brian?
I don't know any guys like that. I know I've never met a guy like that.
Never, never seen
you
one.
guys, I'll
It's
take
amazing.
the fifth. You can't take the fifth.
Exactly. I will plead the fifth on that one.
I will plead the 5 North.
Yes. Can I ask you guys about your partnership extension on NCIS Origins?
Please.
Because that's something that obviously Diona and I have not had the pleasure of coming and spending any time with you guys because it takes place literally in a different decade. But when you, Mark, formed this television show along with David North and Gina Monreal and your son, Sean Harmon, you definitely wanted to work with this guy again and extend this relationship over there. What was it like jumping into NIS as opposed to NCIS? Because you were working there during NIS, right?
Yeah, well, I didn't work both shows simultaneously.
No. I meant yourself.
Now you're getting to the point that I was going to bring up.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I was brought over there because of my age. and this
Bullshit.
No kidding.
Mark's calling you out, man.
Yeah.
No kidding. Because the first day I walked in that writer's room, and that's why, you know, I was like, whoa, these writers are all like high school age, right?
You're right.
And the truth is, none of them, I don't even think David or Gina really knew what was going on in 1991, right?
Right.
And so I was halfway through my NIS career. And I remember sitting around in a production, actually it was a concept meeting, and they were talking about the character being drafted and all of that. And it was the Frank's character being drafted. And I was like, yeah, we had a draft back then, and I was toward the end of all of that. But do you know, in that room of people who were a little bit older, but, you know, not as old as I was, didn't know what the draft was about. And I'm listening to the conversation, and I'm like, wait a minute. Don't know. I mean, it's obvious they didn't know how that worked and all of that, so I kind of schooled people on that one. But, yeah, it's been bringing my experience to that particular show, and it's been fun. But I have to say, by far, I am the most experienced in life person that works in that whole production. So, and it's fun being around young people. I always like that all the time. Keeps me younger.
I want to know what they thought the draft was like.
Well,
Like the NFL draft? Or
Yeah, I'm imagining
one
hair.
misconception is if you didn't show up for your induction, they would send somebody out to get you. Didn't happen that way. Because they didn't have enough people to go out and get people that were avoiding the draft in that time.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the show, in the episode, we do have that happen to the Frank's character. Maybe it's Frank's brother, I can't remember which. But what would happen is they would put out what's called a DD 553, which was like a arrest warrant. And if you were seen or caught, even for a traffic stop, they would run it. And if there was a 553 on it, the police would detain you and turn you over to military police or a collection unit in the military. But that's how that was done. When I was in the Marine Corps, I had a guy who didn't go to Vietnam, but we kept a roster of everybody that was in the unit up there, and I had like 100 some odd people on my roster, but 60 available. And this guy shows up one day, long beard, had put on weight. I didn't know him. And I go, well, what are you here for? He goes, I'm number 107 on your chart up there. And I says, well, what are you doing? He goes, I just wanted to come back and do my time, and whatever you guys want to do with me, just don't F with me and I'll be just fine. So I made him in charge of special services, and he did our football programs. He painted the rocks
That's
outside
cool.
of the building.
Yeah.
And I had said, don't mess with him because he's doing a good job. And he got court-martialed, the general court-martial, but I went down and testified for him. So it's those kinds of things that are really good stories. But yeah, the draft was it was different for our staff because not anybody really knew what it was about.
This is not the same, but my father-in-law was a Marine, and I guess he was too young to actually sign up. So he had his parents sign a waiver, but he was actually even younger than the waiver said. So luckily he had a good guy like you who basically was like, you can't be 15 over here. We can't put you out in the field. And they put him through culinary training, and he became a cook. And that kind of became his like lifelong vocation for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, because he was way too young to be enlisting.
Yeah.
Can you imagine at 15 trying to sign up? That is.
No, at 15 I was trying to play Pokemon. Like I didn't know anything.
But that wasn't unusual back then, and certainly not unusual in World War II.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That was a universal. I mean, people were watching their lottery numbers come up, and a friend of mine or someone I knew, came up number 6. And that's not what you wanted to see at that time. And then, people were legally trying to battle it. People were hopeful that they had some part of their body that was not 100% that might get revealed and keep them out of the draft. There's a lot of fear.
Yeah. And some of these, I mean, I'm sure that you guys are talking about this in the writer's room and developing, obviously, Frank's backstory, right, of how he comes to be Frank's. What was it like, Mark, when you're talking about the Gibbs that you never portrayed? The Gibbs of 1990, the Gibbs of Shannon and Kelly, and then eventually Diane. You've always said as an actor, it's all about the character. It's all about the words. It's all about putting the time and effort into it. What was it like then exploring a character with someone else portraying it? Because you're the producer on this thing and you're helping tell these stories and develop these characters. How was it for you to step back from the performance part of it and help other performers and guide them through?
Brian, I'm like you. I wait to be asked. I'm not going to dive in there and say anything unless you ask me. Yeah. And you'd be surprised how many people don't ask, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay too. It's a different way of doing it.
Sure.
Not the way I did it, but that doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
Part of this is being surrounded by talented people and allowing them to do their job individually and trusting that. And if you're asked, you helped or try to. Whether you're asked or not is not really the issue. This is a different show, very different, certainly than The Mothership, and different group of actors, all of whom have done their homework, all of whom have studied the original and seen so many episodes they can't see straight.
Yeah.
But a guy like David North was in that room in the beginning as a script runner. I mean, that's what David was originally. And David came to be a writer because he was smart enough at the time to say, I'm seeing all these people around me get fired, and there are no complete scripts. And so in his free time, which he had very little of, he wrote a script. So all we knew on set is, what, episode 4 or 5? I don't even know what it was.
Bikini Wax. We've talked about this. Yeah.
It was maybe earlier than that. Maybe it was episode 3. I don't remember. But he wrote this full episode, and for us on set, that was the first full episode we'd seen at one time since the pilot.
Oh, wow.
I didn't realize that.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do remember that being his first.
That's true.
Yeah, there were actors. I remember days on that show where guest actors, not regulars, guest actors didn't know the end of their storyline.
Yeah.
Didn't know if they were the killer, didn't know if they were the good guy, whatever it was. And there's part of that you kind of go, well, that's kind of cool because it really keeps you on the edge, right?
Yeah, definitely on your toes.
But it's not fair.
Yeah.
There's nothing fair about that for an actor not to be able to know the whole of a character.
Oh, I remember, Mark, we had one time, David and I had a guy on the autopsy table, and he's sitting there laying there And all I can hear is him going, "This is such bullshit. This sucks. This is so bad." And I said, "What is going on, buddy? Are you uncomfortable? Can I get you water?" And he goes, "No, I didn't sign up for this." I said, "What do you mean you didn't sign up for this?" And his character, in a rare occurrence on NCIS, was killed like in the third act. And so when he signed up to do the role, he didn't know he's going to have to be naked in front of like 60 people.
Well, that's the other part.
An autopsy
That's
table.
the other part, Brian.
Yeah.
That was in the beginning too. But you said you got to be there in your birthday suit for 6 hours with everybody walking in and out, and we're not seeing that.
Yeah.
So
Right.
can you cover somebody?
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
is that really a tough thing to understand? You know.
Yeah.
And that's about a kindness. That's just about, some reality form of whatever this make-believe world we are as actors.
Yeah.
To just make a small effort to make someone just a little more comfortable.
Yeah, because everybody was naked at first, right? And it was like just
Buck
the
naked.
lights.
Yeah. For hours.
No.
They had a little
And
cotton.
Diona, you're not seeing that, right?
Right.
You can't see that. So
Right.
what's the point?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's true. Does it make it easier for camera? Yeah, because they don't have to hide the towel that's covering you. I don't know. Figure it out.
Yeah. Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
Right? Which
Yes.
we eventually did.
Yeah.
Well, I remember early on as well, people asked me about wanting to play dead bodies.
Oh,
And
I get asked that all the time.
Same.
And I says, I
Buddy.
don't think you want to do that.
Yeah.
And I said, that's one of the hardest things to do on television. And we had a situation where we were filming out at the sheriff's ranch, Pitches. And we had a kid out there, and it was really cold in the morning. I mean, like in the 30s, right? And he's laying out there, dead body. And they didn't get everything they needed that day. And he says, hey, can you come back tomorrow and do this? And he says, no way, I'm not coming back. And so they had to find someone who had the same body shape and all of that to lay out there in that field
Oh my gosh.
as a dead body. But yeah, I wouldn't want to play a dead body for sure.
Oh no, it's a thankless task.
Yeah.
We are going to move on to some Probie questions.
Oh, Probies,
So
okay.
we have a section of our show, guys, that the fans of our show, of NCIS, are lovingly referred to as Probies. And every week on social media, we put out, we're going to have Leon Carroll on the show. We're going to have Mark Harmon on the show. What questions do you have for them? So we have some fan questions for you guys.
I'm just laughing a little bit because I just moved the stack of cards that I did not touch or look at once to my other stack of cards that I'm not sure that I'm going to look at. I like that we just talked. You know what I mean?
I know,
that's
man. It's
fine.
great.
I like that too.
Yeah.
You know, the term probie we don't use. That's more a fireman's term, firefighter's term.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things where the agency kind of stepped in and said to the agents, you will not call people who are new in the organization probies. And the other thing they put out, and you will not slap anybody on the back of the head.
You know what? I'm sorry, that's a BS comment, Leon. None of these people ever worked with Weatherly. So
That's very cool. Is there a real name that they use?
Steal these.
Yes.
I'll give you one. Well, when I was coming along, it was boot agents, but Nug was another one.
Nug.
New useless guy.
I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start. If we ever get like
if we ever
people
get
on the labs.
an assistant at any point,
Yeah. Nugs.
what's up, Nug?
Hey, Boots. Hey,
Hey,
Nug.
Boots.
I like that.
All right, Mark, I have a question for you. And you've probably gotten this question before, but it bears repeating. What's your favorite of Gibbs's rules? And which one of Gibbs's rules, if any, have you ever brought into your personal life?
Yeah.
Are we going to see?
Number
Yeah.
4. Is it number 4?
Is that number 9?
9.
Number 9.
yeah, carry a knife is a good one for me.
It really is.
And you'd be surprised how useful it is. People ask.
That's so cool.
All the boys, you know, they all carry a pocket knife, a little pocket knife. You can forget this sometimes, and you're getting on an airplane, and then they take your little pocket knife, and it's gone, which has happened too. But it's just a handy tool. I mean, I don't mean to defend yourself. Or
Yeah,
that's not
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm talking about, but oftentimes people are saying, anybody got a knife? Whatever.
Yeah.
Hey,
Scissors, knife, something?
Yeah.
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 I haven't yet learned to be careful enough to always carry a knife, but I got one of those little pocket like multi-tools.
Like a leather.
They're like more
Yeah.
dangerous than anything.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Leather-
Probably.
See, these have locks on them.
Swiss
Yeah, that's
Army
better.
knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. But I didn't use it. I'm not gonna lie.
On who?
A bottle cap on a bottle cap.
I thought you were talking about a knife as well.
No, on a bottle.
I used the knife.
No, I used the multi-tool
I got
on
him
a
down.
bottle cap. You
I
guys-
did. Yeah, I was going in a different direction too.
Yeah. You guys all were like, well, she did say she's from Detroit. All right, cool. Okay, hold on. All right, this is for Leon. Okay, who has the most egregious trigger discipline?
Ooh, that's a good
You got a couple
question.
shows to pull from now, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to make fun of this. This is.
I know the
You know
answer
what
to
it
this.
is.
You're,
No,
you're,
no,
you're,
no,
you're
no,
saying it
around the
before
bush.
you're
no,
saying it.
no. You know what? I'm going to say Wilmer. Wilmer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
What?
I'm just kidding. He's not. They're all been great. You know, we've been able to take all the actors that have played agents until we couldn't do it anymore out to the range, and they've all been. It's been different, and it's been a lot of fun, and nobody's gotten hurt with it. And when they get on camera, they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, really, really good. And I don't think there's any show, maybe Chicago PD, that comes close, but they're really good.
Who were you going to say, Mark?
I listen. I think it's hard for anyone to pull the trigger on a weapon and not have your eyes blink. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you start looking for that in different shows when you see that happening, you know. But you start talking about these individuals that we're all trying to portray, and it seems like a rarer breed a little bit that you're trying to perform as, and that's not easy to do, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, one more here. Mark, what do you think Gibbs does to fill his days now that he's enjoying his time in the wilderness? And what's the name of his dog?
Dog.
Gibbs is a very literal guy.
Yeah, I don't know the name. I just know, you know, he's got a friend. You know, sometimes maybe the dog goes back in the evening to somewhere else, and I think he'd be all in for letting that happen. But it's got a reaction out of Leon. That's good.
You got him. You got
Yeah,
him.
I don't know.
And I have the last one, I think, for Leon. Hold on. Oh, this is written upside down. Was there ever a scene or a stunt that you absolutely put the kibosh on and said no to? Can't happen.
I'll tell you, early on, it was a scene where Mr. Harmon shoots somebody in the head, and it was not just me, but it was like, and it would have been an unprovoked thing, where it's like basically an execution. And I said, no, we wouldn't do that. So what they did, I says, the other person has to make some threatening move for Mark to do that. So what they did was they taped, and I think it was, I think her name was Laura Loomer's character. Right?
I don't know, but all of a sudden you said for Mark to do that. It was like,
Well, Gibbs. Okay, so it was Gibbs.
Gibbs.
Let's be real clear here.
This is the knife conversation all over again.
Mark's alternative, his whole ego thing going on with Mark and Gibbs. I don't know, but anyway, so they did do a specialty shot where they show the person bringing up the weapon. She had a 6-shot, and he had his 9mm, and that helped sell the thing that, you know, NCIS agents out there executing people.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a must right there.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah, that's kind of where my line was always drawn, is to the comedy. I mean, we have a lot of comedy in our agency, probably even better than some of the writers have written. But But I think the one thing is we just can't make a real agency look like it's a bad agency and
Like
there's a
they're
lot of
brutal.
dirty people in it.
Yeah.
When there isn't, right? If there is, it's a different story. But
Yeah.
no, we couldn't.
Well, that's
do
why,
that.
as an actor, you try to do things right,
Yeah.
and you realize that it reflects on real people doing a real job or trying to do a very difficult job. And then there are some who say, "Don't talk to me. I'm an actor," right?
Yeah.
And that happens too.
Yeah, I've had an actor tell me I was messing up his acting by correcting how he was holding a weapon or something.
Oh.
So
Well,
not anyone on our show.
I can
But
only,
anyway,
I can only imagine, though, how ridiculously he was holding his weapon if you had to step in and be like, hey, this looks wild on camera. You gotta fix this, man.
well,
was he going
we've had-
sideways with it?
Yeah, he was like,
That happened.
No way. Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
No, it wasn't that.
can I ask one? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask one last question. I was going to say, what's next book-wise? Because this is a really pretty beautiful trilogy. Is
Talking, I got a lot of ideas.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope, or at least I hope I'm healthy and my mind stays sharp enough to keep going. Yeah.
Well, it sure is for this one. And thank you guys so much for
Oh,
coming
you're welcome.
here.
Thanks
Yeah.
for
Really, really
inviting us.
appreciate
It's
it.
been a lot of fun. Thanks for having us on.
Thanks, you guys, and have so much fun on the book tour.
Have a wonderful
Have a
have-
great time.
We
Enjoy
have a
it.
couple of more events to do, and then we can take a break. So.
The book is Ghosts of Sicily. And of course, you can hear Mark Harmon every single week on NCIS Origins. And thank you guys for watching another episode of NCIS Partners and Probies. You can catch us each and every week on YouTube, Spotify, Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, Leon. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Really appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys. Appreciate it.
Follow and listen to NCIS Partners and Probies on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.